Invictus, my kings, and welcome to Top 5 Difficult Total War Factions to Defeat. And in this list, we'll go over some of the most grueling, annoying, tiresome, and difficult Total War Factions to defeat if they are controlled by the AI and you, as the player, are going up against them. Number 5 on our list is any barbarian faction in Rome Total War Barbarian Invasion that can turn into a horde. The way this works is that if you capture the settlement of a barbarian faction that can turn into a horde, they do not get destroyed after they lose their last settlement. No, instead they pop up like 4, 5, 6 full stack armies with low to mid-tier units, to be fair, but there's just so many of them, and this can domino effect like nothing else, because then they can destroy the last element of another horde faction. They turn into a horde, then they can destroy another faction, they turn into a horde, and it can just cascade into unrelenting barbarian hordes just bearing down on you. And this is most significantly the case if you play as the Western Rome or even Eastern Rome. But if you play as any faction that has to go up against this menace, then you definitely know how annoying it is and how difficult it is just to dislodge these barbarians. Number 4 on our list is the Sassanid Empire from Total War Attila. And you know these guys are going to show up eventually, because they are the biggest faction in Total War Attila. They are one of the few factions that actually conquers territories. They're one of the few factions that could actually rival Rome. They have an insane vassal swarm. They are the bane of existence of anyone who likes to play the Eastern Roman Empire. And ultimately, they have so many bonuses. They get extra income from having vassals. They get extra sanitation. They have access to camels. They are insanely strong, and they are incredibly difficult to defeat, because not only do you have to contend with their armies, but they have all these vassals that have full stack armies just running around. All of them have horse archers or camel archers and stuff like that. It's insane. Their infantry is fairly weak, to be honest. However, they usually have easy pickings when it comes to declaring war on the Eastern Roman Empire and conquering Anatolia or the Levant, and they have, combined with obviously the threats from the west that the Eastern Empire has to contend with, they have a very easy time actually overtaking the Eastern Roman Empire in terms of strength and even territory at the expense of the Eastern Romans. And if you play, for example, as the Western Roman Empire or any sort of Western faction, these guys are definitely going to be your final boss, and they are a miserable bunch to defeat. And similarly, number 3 on our list is the Sassanid Empire, once more, for Empire Divided for Total War Rome 2. And basically everything applies in the same manner as from Attila Total War, same thing with Rome 2 Total War, except for they have even an easier time dealing with the Romans, because the Romans are all split up. You have Palmyra, you have the various vassals of Rome that are in Anatolia, you have an even heavier and more powerful vassal swarm, you have even more bonuses, you have even stronger horse archers, and ultimately they are just a more powerful, more annoying version to deal with compared to the Total War Attila counterpart. They grow even stronger, and many times when playing as the Gallic Rome, you find the Sassanids in full control of Anatolia, full control of Egypt, full control of obviously Persia proper, and everything in Arabia, everything just completely dominated by the Sassanids. And they are, unlike the Roman faction, for Gallic Rome, the final boss is definitely Sassanid Persia. They are one of the most difficult factions to actually go up against and to defeat. It's a slog, it's annoying, it's sometimes just barely undoable, and honestly it just makes you want to quit the campaign altogether. Number 2 on our list are the Mongols for Medieval 2 Total War, and there really is no need to explain. They pop up around the turn 60 to 70, sometimes in the Middle East, sometimes around Russia, and they come in with just full stacks, incredibly experienced troops, annoying to deal with. There's no territory that you can just conquer to wipe them out. You could try and assassinate all of their generals, but that very rarely works. So you have to do it the difficult way. You have to actually grind them down. You must not allow them to conquer any territory, because they can just expand like locusts. They have free upkeep. Their troops are amazing, especially for stuff that you have in turn 60 to 70. Now, if you're playing as the Turks, for example, and they pop up in the Middle East, and you are in for a big headache. They are very, very annoying. Sometimes you can never really truly get rid of them until the very late game. They just hover around the Middle East or Russia, and it's honestly just a complete slog. Now, the reason why I didn't put the Timurids here is because by the time the Timurids pop up, you should have conquered basically half the map in Medieval 2. And it's much easier to deal with them. They aren't as much of a shock when they arrive compared to the Mongols. The Mongols are just something else. It's incredible the stuff that they're capable of. They're capable of just taking Constantinople after 5 turns of existing. It's insane. And the grand number 1 spot on our list goes to the Huns in Attila Total War. And I don't think these guys need any introduction or explanation either. They spawn in with full stack armies. As soon as Attila is ready to take command, they spawn in with full stack armies. Once you defeat one of their armies and destroy them, another one spawns. They can have up to, I think, 5 or 6 full stack armies just running around. You have to kill Attila 3 times to actually nerf them. Until Attila is gone, they just rampage all throughout the map, destroying everything. It's very difficult to kill them. If you're playing as the Western or Eastern Roman Empire, you have active debuff against them. It's just insane, the stuff that these guys are up to. They are very much a precursor to the Chaos faction that we saw in the Warhammer series, and very similarly to the Huns and to Total War Attila. The Chaos faction again is very much difficult to defeat in the Warhammer series. However, I think the Huns take the cake because there's just nothing that you have that could stand up against them. Against the Mongols, sure, you could try and stall them out. You could play like England or someone who doesn't really have to go up against them. But the Huns, they're just everywhere. They can completely annihilate Rome. They just are gung-ho to destroy any form of civilization that they see. They're very difficult to get rid of. You have to kill Attila 3 times, and Attila has some of the best troops, best armies. The best way to deal with them is to defeat their armies, really crush a lot of their units so that they have to rely on mercenaries, and then you end up endlessly defeating these same mercenary armies. But that's just so much of a headache. I am, for one of those players that decides to just use a mod to nerf them and to make them a non-entity, because they essentially, if you just want to play a late antiquity campaign in Total War Attila, then you have to deal with the Huns, and sometimes you just don't want to deal with the Huns, so you mod them out. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this top 5 difficult Total War factions to defeat list. If you enjoyed, then please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. Thanks, gangs, for watching, and I'll see you next time.